roberto.com, helping you create something awesome today. Welcome to another YouTube live Q&A. This is the February Q&A that I promised you guys. And today we're going to talk about the business side of YouTube, the taxes. We're going to jump into that right away, and a little bit about YouTube money, and I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to cover some of the basic tax stuff first before I jump into the Q&A side for you guys, so that we can go ahead and just establish some of the basics there. So before you throw in the questions, let me at least get through maybe 5 minutes of breaking down some of the regular tax stuff. So is that all good with you guys before we jump into Q&A? Because I think that that's just going to be like the most helpful thing for everybody, is to deal with the tax thing. I can try to get the camera angle a little higher, but I don't know how it's going to play out because the camera in this computer is sitting at a weird angle. So it's hard to be eye level with you guys because that's just what the laptop does. And I don't know how stable I can keep this with propping it up the way that I am. So, that's what I'm working on. But so with YouTube taxes, one of the things you need to understand is that YouTube is taxable income, just like any other outside income. I have a background where I worked as a freelance photographer, a freelance graphic designer, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm used to getting a tax form that's different than what most of you, if you work a 9-to-5 job, have gotten. Most of you work a 9-to-5 job, you've gotten what's called a W-2 tax form. And wages have been, taxes have been taken out of your wages for that, every other week, if that's when you're paid, or every week, or every month, or whatever. So when you get a W-2, that's how that would work. When you do YouTube stuff, if you make any profit related to YouTube or any other freelance business venture or any business venture that's outside of traditional employment where you'd get a W-2, you get a different form that's called a 1099. 1099 is a tax form that you get as a self-employed person from anyone that you worked for as a vendor or as a service provider or as an entertainer that paid you typically over $600 at any given time. So if you have made over $600 with a single transaction with an individual or a company, typically they will send a 1099 form to you during tax time on your behalf. And the reason I'm doing this in the February Q&A is because this is right around when I think most of us are beginning to file our taxes, so it might be very relevant to some of you. And for some of you, this will apply next year because you're just starting out, with your channels and stuff like that. So you do that. Now, with regard to how much of your money is taxed, that depends just on what tax bracket you're in and what your income is, what your deductions are, and various things like that, what your business expenses are. It also depends on how you're being taxed. One of the business things in YouTube that I will tell you is when you start making any decent money in YouTube, or even if you plan to do this long time and you haven't made money yet, or if you just have the money laying around to do this, I recommend that you start and incorporate an LLC or an S corporation. I went with an LLC. I would say that you look into what you think is going to benefit you the most on your taxes. I recommend a book. I think I have the book linked up down below for you guys. There's a book in Amazon that I always recommend called Start Your Own Business, 6th edition. And it walks through a lot of the advantages and disadvantages to different business structures from a tax perspective and the paperwork that you need to fill out for that. Usually you can go through LegalZoom or someone like that, or you can talk to your lawyer if you have one, and then you can get your LLC set up. But you'll also need to do what they call an S Corp declaration in terms of how your stuff is taxed. Now, again, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm telling you more or less what I did and what other people have done so that you have a basis of understanding. I encourage you to talk to your tax representative. I encourage you to buy the book, Start Your Own Business, through Amazon. I think I have it linked up below. If not, I'll go back and I'll do that for you guys. But that is going to be really helpful. Filing an LLC, depending on what state you're in, can be anywhere from $300 to up to $600, depending on how quickly you want to expedite it, what you want in your package, and what your state filing fees are. So the pricing will vary for you. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. If I were 18 again, or what I would tell any 18-year-old to do is that when you get that graduation money, the two things I would do is I would take out $500 for a secured credit card with my bank, and I would take another $500 and I would form my LLC so that I have an established business entity from the day that I'm 18, so that it's just there kind of collecting years and age in the future. Because when you want to do business transactions and things with banks later, they usually want you to know that your business has been around for a little while, at least 2 to 3 years. So the longer you have an LLC, the better it is for you overall. So, you know, that's what I recommend. I also recommend that you really go and you get some tax advice from, you know, either a CPA, or you ask like people like H&R Block, or whatever that other one is. I forget what they are, but they have like the red and black logo. So those are the people that I recommend you talk to, just because they'll be able to tell you what your tax advantages and benefits are. Because if you're, say, a parent, you might get some earned income tax credits, and also they usually can help you understand what your deductibles are. Because if you're a YouTuber, any of your equipment is deductible, right? So that actually is important. If you are doing an online business at home, your cable internet bill, that's actually deductible from your business, typically speaking. Any of your computer equipment, if you've had it and you've had to repair it, that's deductible. Get the depreciation. LLC to kind of give you some protections as far as your personal assets. You also, and the clicking noise is me. I'm reading the comments a little bit, but I said earlier that I want you guys to, I'm scrolling through your comments, that's what I had to do. I said that I'll answer questions just a little bit after I get through the main tax stuff. So that's where you hear the clicking, is because of your thing. So also, I don't know what's up with the internet connection in terms of, because I'm here at the hotel. So the internet connection thing might be an issue. So sorry about that. Yeah, I am reading like the comments, and this is live, but on the tax stuff, because I think that's one of the big things that everybody's confused about. So yes, as a YouTube creator, you do pay taxes, just like you would if you were a freelance photographer, and just like you would if you were you know, a graphic designer, or even if you were an actor or an actress. So that's what, the sound's going out again? Or is the sound back? Is the sound fine now, or what? Is it better to pay a lawyer when we do handle the taxes? All right, so that's what you're asking. Is it better to pay? It wouldn't be so much a regular lawyer that you use for your taxes. It's what's called a CPA, which is a certified public accountant. So you'll want a CPA. If things are going in and out, I think that's the internet connection, which is really weird. No, I don't think it's the clicking sound. I think it's the connection. I think it's the connection because it's a shared internet connection for the hotel that I'm at. So I apologize for that. So, okay, when I click the button, the sound goes in and out. All right, sorry about that. But the, where was I? Oh yeah, certified public accountants. Okay, so you would probably want to get a certified public accountant called a CPA. Tim Schmoyer uses Mid-Atlantic CPAs, and the reason he uses them as a YouTube creator is because they actually work with YouTube creators and they understand that. So they understand all of the internet-y stuff. They understand this in a way that a typical accountant and tax person usually wouldn't, because what we do is a little newer and there's some things that don't translate for regular people. So using a tax accountant that actually is familiar with entertainment law and with online creators and people who have a personal brand, that's typically important. So Mid-Atlantic CPAs is who Tim Schmoyer uses. Right now I'm using H&R Block, but I'm actually going to move over to either using them. There's another company that Social Blade recommends, and they would know. So that's the company is Mid-Atlantic CPAs. Yeah. And so that's who they use. Now, Social Blade also has a company that they recommend, and I forget the name, but they're also in the entertainment side, and they're familiar with internet-y people and YouTuber stuff. So that's something that I would recommend. So that is, yes, this is going up on the channel later. YouTube will have to process it, and I'll have to edit the part where the audio went out, but it'll go up on the channel later. It might take a few hours. There, someone asks, what is the average CPM of YouTubers with 10K, 100K, a million? There's no answer to that because there's no, everyone says there's an average CPA, but CPM. Everyone says there's an average CPM, but the reality is, as someone who's managed the accounts of other YouTube creators and companies through consulting, I can tell you that individual CPMs and revenue are entirely predicated on individual channels, meaning that everybody's YouTube experience is completely unique. Everybody's YouTube money is completely unique. So the averages are completely irrelevant. What somebody else's CPM is based on their subscriber count will not be your CPM, because it's the difference of the channel, the genre, the user behavior of the audience, and that's all very different. So there is no, you can throw effective ranges out all you want, but the accuracy of that will be hit and miss for a reason, and it's unique. There will be some YouTubers that have half as many views as me that will make 3 times as much money. There will be people that I know that get more views than me, and I make twice as much money as them. So there's it's an individual experience. I have plenty of friends who literally get twice as many views as me, but I make more money than them on the AdSense revenue alone, and there's reasons for that. It might be the difference in our genre and how ad buying happens against our genre. So that actually does make a difference. Your YouTube AdSense gets the rate from where the viewers are watching and from where you are broadcasting from, question mark. On some level, yes. That's the other reason that there's no real law of averages with CPM, is because it is somewhat dictated by where the viewership is. There are countries that have a higher CPM rate than some other countries. So that is different. No, Tech Boosh, I'm not going to tell you my income tax number because it's none of your freaking business. So it depends on your content. It depends on where the ads display. It depends on how much distribution of advertising your particular channel gets. It depends if you're with a multi-channel network or not. That could actually make a difference as well. So because they can negotiate larger volume ad buys and different CPM rates and premium CPM rates. Being in the Google preferred ad tier also makes a difference. So that could be really important. Weston Waston, this isn't a graphic design Q&A, but some of the best graphic design schools in America are RISD and School of Visual Arts and Design, SCAD, and Art Center. So hope that helps you. Tech Boosh, I have a company even outside of YouTube, and again, my income is none of your freaking business. Ask again so I can ban you. Travis Kraft, how are you? Good to see you. Gregory Salvatore asked, does AdSense pay on clicks or on views? This is a great question. It's actually both. It actually is both. And sometimes the advertising tier that you go into is dependent on the overall watch time of your channel, but also the genre of, your channel. Life Mastery, it's not about how mad I get when someone asks about my income. It's about the rudeness, and it's about someone asking it over and over and over again. And it's not about a comfort level as a YouTuber. It's that I actually have a business outside of YouTube beyond that. I do public speaking, I do consulting, I do client services work in terms of marketing and ad management. And there's a lot that goes into that. And then on top of that, I've always been raised that it's a rude question to ask someone how much money they would make. Everyone's entitled to their privacy. There are things in people's lives that they don't want to disclose. There are business reasons sometimes why people don't want to disclose their exact amount of money. And so I just feel like it's a rude question, and I have no compunctions about responding to it in a rude fashion, because I'm a little rogue like that. Someone asked a question about how to earn money through a Facebook page that has over 1,000 likes from AdSense. You kind of don't. Facebook doesn't really have an ad tier program, not just yet. But they will in the near future. I hear that that's in beta. So Facebook, the way you make money in Facebook is you actually sell products or services and you run ads against it. You leverage a personal brand. So that's how you would do that. On YouTube, do we get paid in US dollars? You get paid based on the currency of your country, actually. If you've incorporated for a profit organization, can you prompt us any strategies we can use strategically and legally to evade taxes? No, because I'm not a tax guy. I don't believe in evading taxes. I believe that that's unpatriotic. My father served in the U.S. military and the Marine Corps for 27 years. Taxes pay for national defense, among other things, and thus I don't believe in avoiding taxes. What about now? I think you guys should be able to see and hear me now. Yeah, you guys should be able. I'm back up again? Okay, hang on. Because I'm gonna have to wait for it to catch up on my end because I can't see what's going on. I hate technical difficulties so much. Like, technology is great until it doesn't work. So that's bothersome. Okay, cool. Glad I'm back and we can see and hear me. So Let me see what I missed in terms of questions real quick. All right, yes, it's back. Okay. Yeah, hotel Wi-Fi, ladies and gentlemen, hotel Wi-Fi. Let's see. Yeah, I think someone asked a question about motion design. Yeah, I think it does have a bright future. Yes, we definitely should pay our taxes. How would you respond to a company looking to sponsor you that ask about your income? Typically, companies don't ask about your income in any way, and I probably just wouldn't do business with that company. What they usually ask about is if you do anything that is affiliate marketing. Usually they don't even ask you about how much you do on conversions or your conversion rate on that, but I throw that number at them sometimes because it's leverage to let them know that I have a buying audience and that you guys as a buying audience have a lot of buying power and that they should care about you guys because a lot of you are working professionals, and so you'll buy products and services that actually help you get your work done. So I use that as leverage. I use my demographics. They usually don't ask about your income at all. So, that's what's up. Let's see. What else do we got? What do you feel about Me Too multilingual content, meaning content to 2 or 3 languages at a time? I don't know. And by the way, it's hard to change the camera angle because it's a laptop, and now I have to, have the charging cable, so that we don't lose the connection again due to all the technical stuff. I mean, I guess I can try and like rig something here to make it more comfortable and less awkward, but I don't know how well that's going to work out, but we'll try it. Let's see. Yeah, maybe that's a little better. Try Wi-Fi on a cruise ship sometime. How to increase RPM and CPM. Increasing YouTube RPM and CPM is nearly impossible without doing a few specific things. One, it depends somewhat on your genre and on how that affects and impacts ads that you can target for. I would also say there is a hack, though, to increasing your RPM rate, but I don't know that everyone will want to do it. In your AdSense settings, I may do a video about this. This is a good hack, though. In your AdSense settings, you can actually decide not to advertise certain types of things on your YouTube channel. By excluding yourself from some ads, it means you have a better chance of, when the ads are distributed, of getting ads that are better and ads that are from higher tier companies. And so I excluded relationship stuff, I excluded politics, and I excluded a few other things from the ads that can appear on my channel. I said, nope, not interested in putting those ads on my channel, which means that it focuses a lot more into technology and higher tier products, which means then I get a better effective RPM rate, which is revenue per mil, which you guys might also call CPM, cost per mil, but what we actually get out of that is revenue. So that's a hack you can use. The other one is more content results in more revenue. That's just very real. So those things work, and I would suggest that. She's near and far asks Roberto, around how many subscribers did you start monetizing your YouTube channel? When the YouTube Partner Program opened to everyone in 2012, I immediately connected my AdSense account to it and just turned on monetization because I didn't think about it. Because when I started doing, I still wasn't doing real content in 2012. I had the occasional video that I dabbled in like once every 2 months because I wasn't thinking about it at the time. I started doing my channel for real in 2013. Around the summer of 2013 is when I say I started, because that's when I made a commitment to doing weekly content, is in 2013 summer, July, I think. So we're coming up on like what, 4 years or something like that. 4 more years, right? But so I wasn't thinking about subscriber counts and I wasn't thinking about view counts. When I was doing weekly content, I was doing Photoshop tutorials And I was making that for the creative community, and I was answering creative career questions that I wish had been answered for me when I was starting my career in my early 20s, or even as a teenager when I was thinking about those things, as a designer and as an artist. So I did my videos with that in mind. I didn't think about views and subscribers. I know most of you do, but like YouTube was different in like 2013 a little bit. And the partner program only opened to everybody in 2012. So in 2012, there were, I think, only 30,000 creators making over $100,000. So like making money and making a living on YouTube had barely just been possible by the time I started doing YouTube seriously. And that wasn't even my goal with YouTube. My goal was to use it as a vehicle to, one, educate creative services people, and to also educate clients and to get more clients. And then I decided instead to pivot and do a media company and to build Create Awesome Media and to build education-based content and go the route of public speaking, workshops and training, course instruction, those kind of things, and writing for publications like How and Creative Pro. And now working on the Just Create Awesome book to help people with the mindset of creative success, so that they can use that to deal with the internal mindset problems of like imposter syndrome or not thinking that they're good enough and those things, so that they can actually take what they care about and make a business out of it or have a career working at a great company. So, you know, it's like my perspective on YouTube is different because I don't believe, for me, in making it on YouTube. YouTube is not a destination. It's a vehicle to these other bigger things. And I know that's not for everybody. So my short answer is you can monetize right away, and there are different ways to monetize. And it's not just AdSense. From day one, you could do affiliate marketing. From day one, you could sell a product or service, or you could market your existing business, or you could market yourself as a photographer or as a designer or as an artist or as a fitness instructor. You could monetize YouTube from day one with 0 subscribers. And the thing is, for the people who are in the fitness space and the lifestyle space, a lot of them do. And what many of you may not realize is that the fitness and lifestyle people and the educators and the consultants, when they do YouTube, whether they might have 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, and you guys don't realize that some of them are using that leverage, and they run a 6-figure business using YouTube as a vehicle instead of as a destination. There are more people that make 6-figure incomes using YouTube in the real world than using YouTube for YouTube's sake. And I think that that's something that nobody is talking about. And that's why I like doing these sessions. There are fitness instructors that only have like 8,000 subscribers, but they use that to then sell a virtual $400 fitness like thing. Plus they also are getting the ad revenue, and they're getting watch time, and they're stacking watch time and views, but then they're also doing affiliate marketing and doing things like Beachbody and linking to that in the description. And so they have like 5,000, 8,000 subscribers, and people like cry for them because they think that they're a small YouTuber and they're making real money. So that's something. How do you increase subscribers as a music channel? Reverse engineer the model of VH1 and MTV. Like, really think about that. Deconstruct, fuse VH1 and MTV. Think about it. And look at things like making the band. It's more than just putting your music out there. Think about it. So that's my answer. What kind of business form, if you have a business on the summertime, like wedding pictures or videos? I'm not sure what that question means. I'm not sure. Roberto, how do you bring disproportionate value, jab, 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 to potential clients? Well, I first have to ask them what they want, or I have to analyze and understand what they want, and then I can deliver disproportionate value based on the individual need of the person, because it will be different. I have to understand what they think is valuable is not what you or I think is valuable, and so that requires listening first. So you can't jab, jab, jab to a right hook unless you listen first. King Sequa asks, are you a programmer as well? And if so, what's the best language to convert C++, C# or Java? I'm not, but I worked as a web developer, and I worked with actual programmers that did the desktop application side every day. And a lot of them look at C# and look at Objective-C. That's what my answer is going to be. Let's see. Wow, about blocking this ad stuff, that really works. Have you seen results from it? How long did it take to see a change? And what about Google saying limiting ads, limiting revenue? My business model isn't dependent on the ad revenue. Less people use ad block than you think. Google and YouTube are going to take measures to make ad block completely irrelevant anyway. And I think that people can't complain about quality and content if they're not supporting creators, which means if anyone who's using ad block and then ever complains or whines in a comment about anything ever is a hypocrite, because everything that you enjoy is subsidized by ads at some point in the world today, because that's the way it works. Ritik asks, should I get a Nikon 5200 and a mic and tripod, or use all the budget getting future safe 4K Panasonic G7 and filmmaking? Please reply. Great fan from India. I would say work within your budget, and I would say you could even just start with your smartphone. I would say you don't have to go out. I mean, you realize how many people, Gary Vaynerchuk talked about this the other day, you know how many people go out and get a fancy tennis racket, Nike shoes, get the $400 freaking headband, get out onto the court and lose, versus the person who has like a crappy racket that's falling apart, that works their butt off and hits the ball against the wall because that's all they can do. Take your camera in your smartphone and make freaking awesome content, and don't worry about your gear. And then when you're worried about your gear, get the best you can get for the budget, for the price. So let's see. Got a few more questions here. Quite a few, actually. Naldo asked, do you think big YouTubers that earn a lot of money should create jobs for others? I mean, a lot of them do. I don't think there's any like should. I can't tell them how to run their business. Some people don't want to have employees. I'm starting to hire people, but for a long time, I didn't want to have employees because I didn't want to feel, like the thing I have the most anxiety about is letting other people down. And if I have employees, it means I have to take care of somebody. It means that I'm responsible. It means that their success is now tied to my success, which means that I have to be responsible about everything I do because of the impact that has on other people. That's not a burden I originally wanted, but as I've like gotten a little bit older and as other things have happened, I've changed my mind on that. And I'm actually very grateful for the opportunity to give other people an opportunity now. And so I think it just depends on the individual. That's not for everybody, and not everyone would make a good boss. And I don't think that people should feel beholden to do something with their money just because other people believe they should. With the exception of, I think you should pay your taxes. Vincent Woody asks, any ebook selling tricks? Leverage online content as a teaser for the thesis of your book and use that to sell. If I were a fiction writer, I would literally get on here and I would read supplemental stories and drafts of things that I threw away, or tell backstory of characters. And I would have an artist throw up some art on the screen, and I would do things like that. And I know that would sell my fiction books if I were doing that as a subject matter expert. You can run a podcast or a YouTube channel covering the same topics or both, and then you can use that as leverage to sell your book and to generate a new audience. Can we use Drupal for starting graphic design business? I'm not as much of a fan of Drupal as I am of WordPress. What's the best way to negotiate deals with sponsors when you can add value in many different ways but don't know exactly what the company wants the most? Ask them what they really want and then position yourself to deliver on that. Learn from Tyrion Lannister. He always asks, what do you want? What do you want? I can give that to you. That's how Tyrion Lannister works in Game of Thrones. Use Tyrion Lannister as a case study for how to be successful in negotiation. That's my answer. Breathe Fitness TV says, I have over 2,000 subscribers, but my business allows me to train clients all over the world. Absolutely. It's a great business model. Donkey John Project says, I'm going to do a live stream interview this weekend. Any advice? Have at least 5 questions that you know you want to ask. Field questions early in Twitter, if possible, from the community. And also ask the person to tell stories. Don't just ask them questions. No WLFIC ask, what are the main tax points to keep in mind when starting to receive revenue on YouTube? Keep a track of all of your business expenses. I use FreshBooks to help me keep track of my business expenses. I also use it to invoice clients if I have clients, and keep a ledger of all your sponsor deals and keep that information. So I would say use that. For like, if you want to use FreshBooks, you can try the free version. Go to robertoblake.com/freshbooks. I use that as my accounting and my invoicing software. And I also plug my credit cards in so I can keep track of my business expenses and my budget and my net profit loss. And it makes everything easy on me. And I wish I had started at the beginning of last year instead of a few months in. This year, the next time I file taxes again in 2018, it'll be so much easier because it actually breaks out all of my expenses in the exact same way that I have to have my people file it on my taxes, which means that it just makes life easier. The other point with taxes that I would keep in mind is organize all your 1099s, and just remember that all your income you have to keep an accounting of. Austin Dunham says, what are your thoughts on email marketing follow-ups? Try to put a system in place and try to put a workflow and some automation behind that, and understand like what comes next in the process. Have a drip system whenever you can too. I don't know what the weird noise is. I don't know if it's the fan from the computer. I don't know if it's the heater in the room. So I don't know what's the answer with that. Roberto, what are some of the biggest business mistakes you see people make, says Mel. Mel, I think that some of the biggest mistakes people make are not incorporating an LLC, not taking out business insurance. Business insurance is super important. Depending on your business, it can be anywhere from 40 to 70 bucks a month, maybe more, depending on what you're doing. You should insure all of your equipment and your gear, your cameras, your phones. You should insure all of that. You should have all the warranties for everything and all the paperwork put in a plastic container somewhere, along with the instruction manuals. You should have insurance for yourself as a small business owner. You should have insurance for liability and damages with your clients. That way that you're insulated in the event of a lawsuit. So for like $50 a month, you're covered up to, I think, $2 million, depending on what your policy is. So you want to do that. You just want to make sure you have all those safeguards in place. You also want to have an exit strategy for your business. You want to have a succession plan. What happens to your intellectual property if you die? What happens to your business if you die? What happens to your online accounts if you die? What happens to your money? You need to have all of those things in place. And so not putting those in place is something I think that most people make a mistake in their business. I also think that people don't realize that they need a retirement plan if they're self-employed or if they're a YouTube creator. So part of incorporating an LLC is so that you can do a SEP, which is basically a self-employed retirement plan. So when you do that, instead of just being able to put the $5,500 you can put per year into a Roth IRA, it's proportionate to your income with a SEP as a self-employed person, which means that you can put more into your retirement every single year. So if you were making $100,000, you're not limited to only putting away $5,500 away for your own retirement. You can do it based on income. And if you were making like $100,000, you could put up to $17,000 a year away, I believe, for your retirement, which helps you shore all of those things up, which is why I said if I were 18 again, the first thing I do is I go back in time and I start an LLC and I give myself a secure line of credit with my bank. So I take $1,000 of my money from like, college graduation and things like, high school graduation and things like that for college. I take $1,000 if I'm 18. I start an LLC and I incorporate it. Whether I'm getting ready to start a business or not, I just do it. And then I also apply for a credit card with my local bank using a secure credit card starting with $500. In a year, they release that back to me and they up the credit thing if I behave well, usually to 15 or 2,000, just depending. And so that's what I would literally do. And then by shoring up your retirement, you're in a good position. The other thing people don't do is they don't take out a life insurance policy with their earnings, and they absolutely should, especially if they have a family. So, that's what I would say. I don't remember what the minimum threshold you have to worry about before taxes is. So, that is a thing. Wolfpack Woodcraft says, how much % of your income do you set aside from taxes so you don't get burned at the end of the year? I don't really worry about it, and I don't go on the percentages thing. I do a rough estimated calculation based on the fact that I know that my overall effective tax rate is going to be, the overall effective tax rate for a lot of people, especially if you're a small business owner, is going to be somewhere between 20 and 30%. So you might as well account for that. But then if you run the calculations against your deductions, it could be less. So you could end up at 14 or 18. But if you plan for 20 or 30, then you're fine. It usually will not be that if you're spending a lot in infrastructure and overhead. So it really just depends. Life Master says, Roberto, did you block AdSense ads by an entire category at a time, or did you block a list of advertisers or links? I did both. I blocked by category, and I also blocked very specific sites. I blocked Fiverr because I hate Fiverr. So, that's a thing. And I didn't want to sit there and yell at Fiverr in some videos and then have Fiverr ads pop up on my thing, because that happened and it was annoying. So I blocked Fiverr. I blocked a couple specific sites. I blocked all the political stuff. I lost money on the political stuff because, as you guys know, during the election, I could have raked in money, but I didn't want my viewers to also have to put up with political ads because I hate them. So I was like, nope. And I just decided to forfeit money on that. Didn't care. But then I feel like I made it back in the tech ads anyway. What tone do you use? What things to emphasize when contacting small businesses to offer your filmmaking, photography, and social media skills to them? How much money to ask for to start anyway? Set a standard rate. Understand what your day rate is. Build that off of what you think you would like to make per hour in terms of effective work hours for billing. And don't bill hourly, but work that into your calculation. Calculate for your expenses, calculate for outsourcing, and approach them from the perspective of solving a problem for them, not you siphoning money. What is the process and requirements to get verified? Watch Sonny Lenarduzzi's video on that, or watch Daryl Eves' video on that. They actually break it down. I haven't done a video on that. But being verified is not nearly as important as you might imagine. Pix M Perfect ask SEO question: shall I target one keyword for a video on YouTube or multiple keywords for better ranking, but focus them on context? Satori Graphics says, is having suggested videos as a main traffic source over YouTube search normal? Yes, it absolutely is, especially with the new algorithm. Let's see. Looking at some of the questions. Roberto, not asking for your income, but have you noticed Any differences between ads versus YouTube Red? Ask Ben Sanders. YouTube Red is not significant in terms of earnings for me, even though I get a significant amount of watch time, but I don't get a ton of YouTube Red money, but I do get enough YouTube Red money to where it could cover maybe eating out, going on some dates, or like it could cover a small bill of some kind. But YouTube Red money is nowhere near what AdSense money is, at least in my particular case. Dustin Dunlap says, in your non-tax professional opinion, is it better to form an LLC if you're a YouTube creator, or just fill out a 1099? Also, put camera gear as tax deductible. You'll get a 1099 regardless, and what you'll be filing is a Schedule C or possibly a Schedule A. You want to form an LLC regardless, or at least an S corporation. So that is that's what I would say. Someone says you're on the road to 200K. Yeah, I'll get there pretty soon. Naldo says he's on the road for 1 million, waiting to see. I mean, 1 million's interesting in some ways. I don't know. I am actually despair of the idea of getting to 1 million subscribers because I've come to not like what the mainstream YouTube culture is. The mainstream core of the YouTube community and that culture that skews much younger is different than my audience, different than you guys in the Create Awesome community. Most of you in the Create Awesome community are college students, or you're college educated, or you're working professionals, you're small business owners, you're artists, you're photographers, you're aspiring creatives, you're writers, and I like that. You guys are the intellectuals. But I also think that as the intellectual creatives, you might represent a minority in YouTube as a whole. And if I get to 1 million, I think that it means that I've started to possibly incorporate the mainstream YouTube audience, which I don't like the mainstream YouTube audience too much. I have nothing against young people specifically per se, but like certain topics that I cover in YouTube that dip a little bit into the YouTube mainstream culture, when I address something that maybe happened with like Casey Neistat or PewDiePie or Philip DeFranco or Shay Carl or something like that, the YouTube main culture of young people is dark and angry and not nuanced a lot of the times, and is very emotionally driven, whereas I'm a pragmatist. I'm driven by rationale, and I like having deep, nuanced conversations. I like playing devil's advocate. I like attacking things from all sides, whereas those people a lot of times just want to win an argument, or they want to take a side, and I don't believe in those things. And so philosophically, I'm conflicted about 1 million subscribers because I'd rather keep our community what it is. I'd like to keep our community and keep the Create Awesome community's culture preserved in what it is. And I don't know how inclusive that is. I don't think it has to be inclusive. I think that if I want to kind of build a place for artists and creative people to be encouraged and be successful, then people who are seeking entertainment, I don't really want to incorporate them as much, because there are people who are consumers and there are people who are creators, and creators can be consumers and consumers can be creators. But the reality is you're one more than you're the other. You're usually one more than you're the other. And I think of this, I think of our community as a place for the creators. I don't think most of you watch me to be entertained. I think you guys watch me for education, encouragement, motivation, to reverse engineer from my example so you can be successful on your own. Some of you are learning to work together. Appreciate that. So I don't know if 1 million subscribers is in the cards. I'm not sure how much I want it. The only reason I would want 1 million is to prove to people that creative education can be taken seriously, and that creative education matters, and that people want to be respected as creators, that creators can deliver absolute value, and that creators can be successful business people if they want to and have a career. So if I get 1 million, I want it on those terms, and I want 1 million creative people to be educated and motivated by all this. I don't want 1 million vanity people. I don't want 1 million fanboys and fangirls. I don't want that, because that's not important to me. What's important to me is fighting for creative people like you guys and trying to make sure that creativity is respected, that people pay for it right, that people who want to get into this also respect businesses. And those are what my goals really look like. So yeah, that's a little bit. Any tips on how to grow your channel? Or most of the tips the same? There are more tips, but they're not tips. They're more strategies. They're more strategies than anything else. And so that's some of what you'll see coming on the channel has more to do with the strategy side than individual one-off tips. There'll still be some one-off tips and there are tools, but that's what I'm getting more into is strategy than anything. What are the books that help me understand business models? Use the books. Here's some books that would definitely help you with the business model stuff and money. There's a book, Start Your Own Business, 6th edition, get that. And then there's also Money, Master the Game. And then also there's a book by Nicole Lapin on managing your finances that I could recommend and I would look into. So I would definitely say that. Yeah, live streaming. No, you're good. Let's see. What's the, like, need to work on your book for sure? Yeah, you definitely should. Hey, Roberto, how to determine my rates for video editing work on social media, banner post design? Find someone who's doing it. Let them know that you want to respect the prices of the market and that you don't want to undercut people, and ask them an effective rate. But make sure that's somebody you trust and someone that's at a similar level as you. I can't tell you what to charge because I don't know your skills and what your level is and what the customers that you're pursuing, what the market bears there. So I would say you have to ask someone that is going in your community that is doing it so that you don't undercut them and you don't tank the market. Archie says, do you want to become a millionaire? I guess everybody wants to become a millionaire. I care about money. I respect money, but I only respect money for the things it can do. I think that if I become a billionaire, that's when you see me truly become a Sith Lord. And I think I'll become the thing that I hate most, which is a corporatist. I think if I was a billionaire, I think that being a billionaire means you almost have to become a corporatist. You have to become Mr. Burns at that point. And so I despair about that. But also there's who doesn't want to be a billionaire, right? As for, oh, well, do you want to be a millionaire? I guess, because if I am a millionaire, I can do really cool things. I can build things that will stand the test of time. I can change the narrative of creative services. I can be an even bigger job creator and I can give more people opportunity. I can make an impact and difference. I can start the nonprofit that I've always dreamed of doing as a charity organization without a second thought if I'm a millionaire. So, I mean, I guess I want to be a millionaire. Who doesn't? Is doing YouTube considered a small business? Unless it's considered being a business. Let's see. CPU fan. Yeah, the CPU fan's probably the noise at this point. And, you know, sorry about that, guys. Not much I can do here. Let's see. Advice for showing proof of your work when you can't film your process because it makes other members at the event clients uncomfortable. Then do something else to show your work, like maybe doing a video that shows that you're knowledgeable and that you're a subject matter expert. YouTube does not, Vedic Astro, YouTube does not automatically deduct your taxes. You have to pay taxes on your overall income at the end of the year, and this will count as additional income, and it comes in the form of a 1099 tax form, and then you do your tax declaration. If I can ask, did you use your name before an LLC? Before an LLC, I used a DBA. So you can use your name and you can file under your social security number, and you still would do it as additional outside self-employed income rather than wages. Just talk to your tax preparer about that, and they'll be able to walk you through it. Let's see. Yeah, I think if I become a billionaire, I think I go to the dark side. I think that's just what would happen. Views versus subscribers, which one increases revenue? Views. But subscribers can generate views and views can generate subscribers, so it's a loop, so both things are important. What happens to inactive subscribers? Does YouTube delete them? There are debates about that. There's no evidence one way or the other yet. Kiara Lee says, any tips for vlogging? Reference the how to be a YouTube vlogger video I did, which is an interview with YouTube vlogging sensation Sarah Dici. Also go to soundcloud.com/RobertoBlake2 and listen to my advice for YouTube vloggers. Question, would you rather make 90K and create awesome projects or make 300K and be more of a business person? Both. I'll split the difference, do $250,000 and do both. And then I'll figure out how to 10X on that over the next 5 years. That's my answer. Because I can do both. I'm a creative entrepreneur, I can do both. What program do I use to edit my videos? Adobe Premiere Pro. No, someone says money is power. Power is power. Power is an illusion. It's a trick. It's a shadow on the wall. Power resides where man believes it resides. And a small man can cast a very large shadow. Varys, Game of Thrones. Ben Sanders says, how does uploading constantly actually help your videos show up more? The more times your videos show up potentially for a search or related to other videos, the better of a chance people clicking on them. The more that people click on watch on your videos, YouTube identifies in the algorithm a user behavior profile, which means they can recommend to other YouTubers in their homepage who watch videos similar to the ones that are related to your videos. Your videos, that way they get more watch time, thus more views, more subscribers, more ad revenue, all of those things. It works exactly the way Amazon does. Nemanja asks, advice for beginning tech YouTubers: review every single tech product that you already own, even if it's old and retro, and be clever and use decent product shots. Monkey asks, hey Roberto, how do I market comedy sketches on YouTube? Reverse engineer the career of Amy Schumer, reverse engineer Comedy Central, reverse engineer Jeff Dunham, reverse engineer any of the modern comedians working in the digital era, and develop a personal brand. You don't need $1 million to cast a very big shadow. There are people that I know with millions of dollars and a lot of money that are really miserable, and they lack personal power despite having money, because the lifestyle they have limits their ability to act and it limits their freedom. Also, because of their choice to value their money over their freedom, they have limitations on what they can do because it would compromise their money. Thus, power is power. Power is your interpretation of power, but personal power is the ability to act. Money can give you the ability to act unless your desire to retain your money limits your actions, because you can't go against what makes you money in that case if you choose to value it as power, and thus your ability to act becomes compromised. Your ability right now to act, if you work a 9-to-5 job, is limited by what you can say or do with regard to your employer, because if you do those things, it compromises your money, which means that your ability to speak up, your ability to act, your ability to stand by things you believe in is limited. Your power is limited because you're beholden to making money in the form of getting your paycheck. Even if you run a business, you then can't always do things you like, because if you do them, maybe they damage the business and thus your ability to make money. So having money doesn't always translate to power. And then there are people who can have leverage over you even if you have money. You know, money, if you're dealing with an unreasonable person, doesn't stop them from punching you in the mouth. So that matters. What camera am I using? Mostly now I'm using the Panasonic Lumix G7, or I use the Sony RX100 Mark V. I used to use the Nikon D3200. The Lovely said, who inspired you on YouTube? I mean, originally, not anyone in particular, but there are people I admire. Obviously, Gary Vaynerchuk, my friend Evan Carmichael, my friend Sarah Dietschy, Eric Conover, Craig Adams, Terry White, Jared Polin, Matt Granger, Nathaniel from Tutvid, the guys over at Flern, Marie Forleo, Karen Cavett, who I met, and she's a wonderful person. Josiah Brooks, aka Draw with Jazza, as an artist, definitely is someone I look to. Philip DeFranco, I think, inspires a lot of people, motivates a lot of people in terms of how long he's been on the platform and what a real smart business YouTuber looks like. So those people. Is it possible to use YouTube for an affiliate business? Yes, I use YouTube for an affiliate business through a lot of platforms, including Amazon. It does very well for me. How often would you recommend live shows on YouTube as opposed to edited shows? As often as you're comfortable with. Some people do daily live streams in other platforms, and it works out really well for them. I think it could be huge for some people if they're good at it. But the caveat there is if you're good at it. Please tell which types of videos are the best to make money and gain views on YouTube. There's no answer to that. There are people who make money and get views doing everything. Whether it's fitness, whether it's gaming, whether it's comedy, whether it's tech, whether it's education. The question is being good. There's no magic bullet. It's called being good. How do you figure out how many taxes to pay? It's very confusing. Go and ask a tax preparer, but you can also use tax calculation websites. Taxes are based on income. They're also based on what you're going to deduct and what is a business deduction. Those things all exist in the forms on things like TurboTax and H&R Block. Do you trade with stocks on Robinhood? I've looked into that, but I'm also at the point where I'm not interested in stocks in the stock market so much as I'm interested in equity in startups and then IPO deals later with things like whenever the next version of Snapchat or Facebook comes around. But to do that, I have to go on the offensive and stack piles and piles and piles of cash. A lot of you won't like this, but literally, if I could sell the inventory of every single one of my videos to a sponsor, and every single one of my videos had a sponsor plug at the end of it for $1,000, I would literally do that tomorrow, sell all 500 of the videos of inventory to sponsors for the year tomorrow. I would do that. What I would do if I did that is I would sometimes, not always, turn on AdSense for everything too, but I would do that. I would sell all 500 pieces of inventory for $1,000 to $2,000 a piece on this channel per the year tomorrow. I would stack those piles of cash. I would use some of that money and I would set up microsites. I would buy into equity and start other YouTube channels with other people being the face of it, have an equity deal, keep the lion's share of that money, use my leverage with the sponsors to sell inventory against those channels, stack piles of cash, invest in some early startups, get some equity there, and then I would go to South by Southwest and I would start handing out checks to kids until I find Zucks, until I find the next Zuckerberg. I would start doing that. And then I would still make content, probably from a beach somewhere. So that's what my answer is to that. Let's see. Wait, what was that question? So that's what I did with the sponsors. It worked really well. Yeah, selling inventory. Yeah, no, that's really smart. Will, you're another great YouTuber as a friend that I look up to sometimes. So definitely thanks for joining us on the live stream. Super chat's gonna be interesting, but I also think it's gonna be abused. I think it's gonna be abused. Does Google AdWords ads really work as I get views but no likes and subscribers? AdWords isn't using bots, but AdWords views and subscribers are counted different. Like actually, not even most of them don't subscribe. It's counted differently. TubeBuddy is a great friend of the channel, guys. Go to tubebuddy.com/awesome if you want one of the best Google plugins for your YouTube channel to help you with SEO and management. And no, they're not paying for that plug, but I'm going to shout them out anyway. Do I plan on enabling Super Chat on my channel? Yes, I actually do plan on enabling Super Chat. I'm going to do a last hurrah live stream video for people who want to do regular fan funding, and then I'll discontinue it, and then I'll do Super Chat. So Super Chat will be coming next month for me, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, big shout out to Will Patterson, guys. One of the best graphic designers and hand letterers and artists here on the YouTubes. Definitely an amazing creative. So yeah, Super Chat will be coming. What should a new YouTuber be doing to grow his or her channel? Make 200 videos and never look at your freaking analytics and your view counts and your subscriber counts. Make 200 videos that you're proud of and then talk to me and go from there. That's literally my answer. My literal answer is that if you're a new YouTuber, for the first year or the first 200 videos, ignore all of your numbers and just make awesome content and see what happens. See what happens. Ignore your numbers. Is it easy to work and live as a full-time YouTuber? I don't consider myself a full-time YouTuber. I am a full-time entrepreneur, and I upload 30 plus videos a month on average. And at the same time, I run my business. I run Create Awesome Media. I do business. I'm on a plane every month now. I've been on trips 3 times this month, and I have another trip next week. I'm here from a hotel. Like, guys, I mean, it's down to you. It's not about easy. It's straightforward. There's no such thing as easy. So, yeah, make 200 videos. That's my answer. Make 200 videos. That's my answer. I mean, I'm batting 1,000 here. This didn't happen overnight or anything. So, yeah. But guys, I think that's gonna be it for the live stream. We've actually ate a lot of time. We did an hour here. I know we had technical difficulties, so this will go up later when YouTube's done processing it. I'll probably have to edit out the initial technical difficulties, so it might take a little bit longer. So the replay will be up later, you guys. My recommendation, coding, graphic design, do both. Multiple revenue streams is always the answer. As a beginner, uses video topics. Figure out what you're excited about and make videos about it. Anthony Massey, can I talk more about how I get out of depression? Watch the playlist in my YouTube channel. Go to the playlist tab, search for the ones that says motivational, and that will probably help you out. Code Man Not Here says, why'd you start your channel? To help creatives. Yep. But guys, I got to run. I got to go get my convention badge. I got to go fly my drone. Got to go take some photos, do snappy snaps, do some things. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope I answered your questions. Remember, pay your taxes, form an LLC, talk to a tax rep, talk to a lawyer, do all the businessy things, stack your cash, save your money, save your freaking money, count all of your deductions, itemize everything, keep a ledger, do all the things. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Resource links are in the description below. Go out there, create something awesome today. Take care. And